this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Friday the 27th. And Mars moves from Sagittarius, where it was in a retrograde, and it moves into Scorpio, where it's going to be in retrograde until August. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like to have your Mars in retrograde. Now, first of all, Mars represents the planet of passion. It's the planet of, it's a very, very masculine energy. It rules the military or a militant mindset. It moves the ability to take action. It's kind of the planet that rules our ability to persevere. It's determination. It's strength. It's your willpower. It's your confidence. It's your ambition. It's the ability to aggressively defend if it has to. Whatever position it's in, it's fearless. It's daring. It's where you get your daring energy. It's of course a highly sexual energy. It rules stamina. But this planet is in retrograde, which means that when Mars, if you're just looking at the planet Mars without considering the source of energy that it's in, which is Scorpio, it really rules, when Mars goes into retrograde, it's restraint. It's wanting to confidently move forward, but it's the strength of not being able to. So you can imagine how you have this strong masculine energy caged in a retrograde. How that would make that energy feel. So for many of us, we feel like we have a lack of strength, sometimes to endure what we're enduring. We lack the passion to correct some of these areas in our life that we're being asked to correct. We're wore out. We lack the stamina. We lack the endurance. At this point, some of us are kind of like in that world where we want to just give up and give in. It's more of a passive aggressive energy in this. So it can go around and get you from behind versus face to face. I think for some of you that are want to persevere and move ahead and just go for it, I believe that there is something that you have to consider before you can prevail, before you can move forward, before you can have the stamina to endure what it is. There's something that you need to know moving forward before you actually move forward. I think this also reveals where you lack discipline, where you lack structure, where you are distant, where you detach, where you don't have enough personal investment to be able to persevere, because, we're going to fight for something if we are personally invested. But if we're just being asked to fight for something that we don't truly believe in, then we don't have as much stamina. We don't have enough will to move forward with it. But I believe that it has a lot to do with a revelation in your life, an ending, a beginning. Whenever you take on Scorpio energy, that's the house that's your 8th house. So when you're talking about, Scorpio, it represents the 8th house. So that's death, that's rebirth, that's transformation, that's regeneration, that's deterioration, that's being constructive or destructive. It is just a very intense energy. I believe that a lot comes forth. I think we see a lot of the darkness. In people, I believe that we see a lot of the darkness in our mindsets. What's revealed to us as secrets, deception, lies, hidden agendas are very possible in this energy. I believe that repressed feelings may come out in this energy, or may be revealed to us in some way, some facet. It could be either externally or internally. I believe that we regress in this energy. We regress and we go into the darkest realms of what is repressed. So for some of us, the realization is we lack the control to move forward because we're refusing to see areas in our lives intentionally or unintentionally. This could be conscious thought and unconscious thought as well. I believe a lot of that is stirring in this retrograde. I believe that this will redirect us eventually as we go through the entire transit. What I think it is this is going to be a very draining transit, because if Scorpio were in full power, like if it was fully doing what it's supposed to be doing, first of all, Mars being in Scorpio is in its home energy. So normally, under normal circumstances, you would be kicking ass. You'd be just a sexual beast out there. You would just be you'd have a lot of masculine power. You'd be confident. You'd be out there defending what you need to aggressively if you have to, because you would be taking stands in your life. You would be incredibly action oriented. But because Mars in its own home sign is in retrograde, it is a caged beast in this energy. It is in its home energy. So it feels like it should be doing something, but it can't, because it's being caged. It's being repressed in a retrograde cycle. So you can see what bubbles up in this energy. You can see how frustrating, you could see how intense that energy would get. Not to mention, Scorpio energy is just a highly intense energy anyway. I mean, it's very, very out of control. Your passion is going to run in very, very deep in this energy, whether or not it's in retrograde or not. This brews things, it brings things forward. It reveals things that you're deeply, deeply intense about, like you deeply, deeply desire. Like it's buried. It brings it forward in this energy, because as we reflect, we have realization. So that's the bringing forward that I'm talking about. This energy can unmask people's intentions. It can reveal secrets. It can bring forth obsessive tendencies. This is the energy that I think would be the energy that's like stalking you from afar. Like, it's not, just coming up at you. It's like the stalker that's like been stalking you for like months in just obsessive about it, and it's all hidden. It's like that type of energy. It's a very intense energy. What I think is very difficult about this is that, part of what I see is that when Mars is when Mars first goes into retrograde into Scorpio, it's going to be opposing the Sun and Venus. So you have this really decadent energy. You have this really beautiful Gemini energy, and it's pleasure seeking. It wants what it wants. It wants an immediate high. And then you have it opposing this retrograde cycle. To me, this suggests the realization that we have these tendencies up here. It's the realization that we are out of balance. So there's the realization of the flip side of energy. So there's a lot. This is going to really fester and bring forth a lot of really, interesting energy. Anytime energy dips into Scorpio energy, you can expect that you will have to deal with the fact that there's an intense component about it. That there's, this is the water energy. The way that I describe Scorpio energy is, Piscean energy is just the energy that's just calm and floating along. It likes to just float along. It's very calm waters. It likes, it's the most beautiful scenic water that you can have around you. It's all the scenic water, and it's just a smooth source of water. I see Cancer water energy as like this turbulent, the tides come in, the tides come out. It's a force. It's a moving force. It just never stops, changing shape, changing direction. That's Cancer. When you get to Scorpio water energy is like you're looking at a lake, and the lake looks incredibly glossy and pleasant and beautiful. You don't see, it looks really deep. You can see the darkness in the water. And so you have this nice little bank that you can just walk gradually into the water. So it's kind of smooth feeling. It's good feeling. But the shelf just drops off, and you can't see. You don't know what's beyond the darkness. You don't know what's in that deep, dark water. Is it piranhas? Is it a barracuda? Like, is it rocks? If you were to dive in there, and are the rocks just, a good source of, or a good way to explain this is it's like that iceberg that at the top you have this, the iceberg is up there, but you don't know how deep the iceberg is below. That's kind of like what I'm trying to say. So we don't know how deep this energy is what it's going to reveal in our lives. We don't know what we've repressed. We don't understand. We may have repressed this so much, we don't even know it exists, until it festers, until it's brought forth in our life. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to be right back to tell you how this is going to affect your sun, your moon, your rising sign. I'd also check out where my progressive Mars sign is at this point, because it might have some sort of revealing energy as well. Hi, Aries. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, this is your ruler going into retrograde. So anytime your ruler goes into retrograde, you kind of retrograde yourself. So your stamina gets a little lower, your endurance gets a little lower, your energy levels get a little bit lower. I think things intensify about the past, or the recollection process about the past, kind of deeply intensifies the way that you're feeling about the past. So your ruler moves from Sagittarius energy into Scorpio energy, which is still in retrograde. And Mars in Scorpio, when Mars moves into Scorpio, it has a regenerative quality for me. Like, it's a renewal process, it's a growth cycle for you. I think that the way that you interpret your immediate environment will be a very revealing energy for you. I believe that if there is a fixed mindset that needs to be refined, I believe that you're going to go through this reflective cycle and kind of take a look at that. When you go from Sagittarian energy into Scorpio energy, what I think becomes very clear is what is deeply motivating you to want to venture forth, like to consider new options. What do you really feel about your belief systems now? I mean, how fixed are they? I believe that when we got into Sagittarius energy, it kind of opened up some of these mindsets. And then as we go back into a fixed energy source like Scorpio energy, we have to really kind of firm things up. So we go from this expansive energy into let's firm up some of these mindsets. I really want to embrace this new thought process. How do I, make that into like a routine or a ritual or a regimented mindset? Like, I've got to firm up that revelation. I believed that you are adapting some of your mindsets, and when you do that, I think you start to explore new questions, and I think some of these questions really are deeply personal to you. What's the root cause? Like if you're exploring the depths of your soul, you're diving deep into the water of your soul, then what are you seeing? And like, if you were to put on a diving mask and, you were to have a light, like what really resides in there, that's going to be revealed to you. Like, why do you have these fixed belief systems? What is it that you refuse to see? Why don't you want to see it? Like, these questions are going to be brought forth. What painful revelations are you not acknowledging? What is at the root of the issue? I think that you have been restricting the potential and energy in your life, and I think you need to figure out why. I think that in the past you used to relive painful lessons, because I think you think that if you build this force field around you tight enough, I believe that you think that nothing can penetrate it. That would be a very voyeurist, mindset. So like, you feel like if you built that tower, the best tower, you built the best reinforcement around your tower. Like, I think you feel like, okay, I've got everything under control, but I don't. That's a false sense of security, because somebody could go and blow apart that big old concrete wall that you have created. So I believe that some of you, there is a false sense of security in this energy. I think that many of you are living in extremes. I think this energy revealed what you have failed to see. I think that there are some karmic cycles that are going to end, and I believe that you are going to embark on a new journey. But in order for that to happen, I believe you really need to revisit these areas, what motivates them, what puts you on automatic pilot to make you, even if you do want progressive energy, I believe that for some of you, you regress and you keep going back into automated pilot. Why? What's the source of that? What motivates you to be able to always want to keep up those walls? I believe that it is possible to live a fearless life full of potential. I think you just need to shine some optimistic light into the darkness that is destroying you psychologically. We get in our own way. We do. Like, we have the ability to move toward light every day, but for some of us, there's a comfort in staying in the dark, staying low, staying hidden, and I'm talking about your mindsets. I'm talking about what motivates you to seek forward energy, and then what motivates you to restrain your energy, or restrain your opportunity, or restrain the potential. Why do you need to control it so tightly that you do not allow others to breathe and to be adaptable and to bring forth new situations in your life? Many of you this is a very transformative process. But for transformation to happen, you've got to figure out what's at the root cause. I believe that's what the Grand Earth Trine is about. It's about getting down to the roots of what you've been growing on all of these years. Your automated programming, the way that you grew up, what impacted you, what didn't, what motivates you. Were you encouraged to be something progressive, or were you told that you were never good enough? Like, what did you build? What did you plant your seed on and grow your tree on all of these years? I believe we need to figure out that root issue. Now, this is an opposition, and it is trine energy. So I want to reinforce that it's not a square or a quincunx. So this is the energy about balancing out those mindsets. It's about you looking at the yin and the yang. It's about validating both the yin and the yang as part of life, part of why we're here, So we had this situation when we were young. Like, what motivates you to, you still want to grow, you still want to flourish, you still want that tree to continue to grow. So you're looking at the yin and the yang, and you're trying to figure out, well, I can't change what happened in the past, but I still want to flourish. So you're just trying to find that middle ground there. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Taurus. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, for you, at this time of this event, when Mars moves into Scorpio, you're going to be involved in immutable grand crofts. So when Mars moves into Scorpio, what you value may depend on whether you are resisting to see or validate a change that is inevitable. Some of you are fixated. You do not want to adapt to something that you need to. I think in order to grow, you must be adaptable to what you need and want. I think it's more what you need. If you want to know, I think what we want and what we need is a very fine line. And I think as we went through the Taurian mindset, as all the energies were in Taurus, we were like, I really know what I value now. So I think that needs to motivate what you need and want, not so much what you were always needing and wanting, on a superficial level. So I believe what's happening at this time is that in the past, much of what you needed and wanted to pursue was pleasure or had somewhat a superficial value to it. That, you were just, it makes me feel good right now, so I'm going to do it right now type mindset. I think you idealize outcomes based on desires that often generated inconsistent results for many of you. I believe this energy will push you to face some of your relationships you are investing in. And I believe that as this mutable energy is testing your relationships, I believe that you're going to see a lot of significant karmic messages come out of. These are fated conversations. These are fated unions at this time. I believe that for everybody, this is a very fated time for us to be having conversations, especially with significant bonds, especially with unions, because they're going to get us closer to what we desire, because we have this Venus and the Sun conjunct at the same time. We have this mutable Grand Cross, and we have this Grand Earth trine with, being really leading you away from, karmic cycles that no longer serve you. Like, we have just a freaking lot going on. I believe that this energy will be about balancing what your heart desires with what seems like a logical and a reasonable request. Reason and logic combined with what your heart desires, it can bring up a very interesting mindset. Your intuition, as well as your emotions, will intensify this fated transit. Remember, Scorpio energy intensifies everything. It magnifies it. It reveals the way that you feel or the way that others feel about you, because we've got this whole Venus and Sun thing going on. I believe that you won't be able to hide from what you feel. And no matter how hard you think you can hide from it, I believe that because, I said this in my daily, but this mutable Grand Cross just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And the energy, the degrees get stronger and stronger. They get closer and closer and closer. And to where that if some of you are refusing to be adaptable or refusing to make changes that are necessary to create the change and to just, you can't keep life the same. No matter how hard you try, the energy out there is doing one of two things. It's asking you to ground your energy, consider the roots that you have planted your life on, how you're making it flourish. What is at the root? What's at the base of that? And then it wants you to move away from this karmic lesson, from whatever the root level of this energy is. Because the earth energy, of course, is earth energy. So we got to figure out what's at the root of everything that's motivating you right now. And then we want to stabilize it. We've got that energy source, and we've got this mutable Grand Cross. And it's just getting, the Grand Cross is just building and building and building and getting more and more intense and exact. So don't think you can keep anything the same. I think that that's what's so funny right now, is I think that a lot of people are going to try to keep their life the same because they want some sort of predictability, but there's no predictability in adaptability, in this adaptable, mutable duality energy. It's not going to remain the same. So just adapt and embrace and submit a little bit to this energy, especially when it comes to your deepest relationships. I believe that some of you, your relationships are going to intensify. Conversations are going to intensify. Emotions are going to intensify. There's going to be a lot happening in the relationship realm. When you dive into Scorpio, you're diving into the deepest waters. You're diving into hidden things you can't see. you know, you're going to start to be really, your eyes are going to be opened in this energy. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Gemini. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, during this event, your ruler is going to be involved in the grand Earth trine. So you are very, very fortunate. There is lovely energy to be found for this beautiful transit. When Mars moves into Scorpio, your ruler will be in a grand Earth trine, and where you lack discipline to create the structure and consistency that you desire, you will get a harmonious push from the universe. How glorious is it that as our emotions and everything intensify, and as we really reevaluate the past, we become very, very certain about what we want moving forward. And then we, as we sit in Scorpio energy, we become very intuitively sure about the direction that we need to go. I believe that Scorpio energy will intensify your competitive nature. There is a need to get something that you want. You'll be driven to it. Now you're going to say, well, Mercury is in retrograde, but Mercury in retrograde right now is in a really positive energy for you. So this isn't about that energy that intensifies it to get it right now. That would be Mars and Scorpio direct. What it is for you to be in this contemplative energy, get you really psyched up so that when you're ready to move forward, you're ready to move forward and stabilize everything. It's to get your wheels turning in the right direction. You know, at first what needs to be brought forth is just this recollection process. You need to have enough intense motivation to make some of these changes that I think we have a grand immutable cross that's going on. Which is in Gemini energy because, you know, Venus and the Sun are involved in this grand Earth trine. This grand Earth cross. No, God, I keep saying it wrong because there's so much going on. The grand mutable cross is what I'm trying to say. I apologize. So it's, you know, it's just building and building and building, and this your immutable energy source as well. So there's a change necessary. You're building up to a big change. A big change is coming. And all of the Scorpio energy is going to intensify the way that you feel about grounding, about making choices that have longevity, about stabilizing, about taking a look at the root of some of these issues and really honestly getting down to it. It's a revelation process for you. I think that some of these goals will be intensified by the things that you value. And I think that you will be very successful in this energy to start taking a look at the past and what didn't work and moving and making some plans to move forward with maybe some new and innovative mindsets. I think that you will reflect and see where some of these same mindsets, like as you're looking at if you're being influenced by the mutable grand cross because it's in Gemini energy, if you are looking back at the past and you're seeing, you know, that you tried these things in the past before, they didn't work, like what's going to work now? I think for many of you, you're not interested in reinventing the wheel. That's not you. That's not Mars and Scorpio. What it is about, it's like the more passive aggressive approach. It's like taking a look at it and the sneak attack from behind. It's like, it's really reflective energy. It's a very deeply psychological process. So for some of you, the revelation in this is that what you value, I think, is deeply going to be at the root of this entire cycle this transit that you're going to go through. I think for some of you, you learned a very valuable lesson from your past in the karmic cycles as you're taking a look at the root of all of these issues, the root, and I say the root because, you know, you have this grand Earth trine, Earth energy. I think of the root of a tree. So we're taking a look at the root of everything, especially when you get into Scorpio energy. I think you're very, very focused on longevity. I think that a partner may be a part of that equation, or maybe the motivation, or maybe the fated conversations that you need to have at this time. I think the problem is in the past that you tried to manifest a relationship's potentials and may have failed. So I believe there's a little bit of fear associated with this. Scorpio definitely represents that the darker side of, like, you know, we do a couple, I mean, it doesn't matter which way we seek pleasure. Some of us, it's just because we want pleasure and we're so decadent we need it. Or for some of us, it's like we're moving away from pain and trying to find pleasure. So I think for some of us, the recollection process is like going to make you feel like, oh, there's a lot of painful revelations. I don't know if I want to even deal right now. I think you could recall these past cycles and be faced with repressed feelings and sensitivities. I think that's incredibly possible when you have that mutable grand cross. I think Scorpio energy can bring forth the darker aspects of the Taurian nature. It depends on what you're connecting with. If you're really caught up in excessive pleasure seeking at this point, you are really going to go through a time where I believe that for some of you that are really looking at the Gemini energy, really in this mutable energy, really excessively pleasure seeking, I believe you may go through a time of just, you're looking at the extremes and it's intensifying the extremes. And I believe that for some of you that can be very difficult. But if you're, and then you'll get caught up in all the dark Taurian mindsets. And the reason I say Taurian is because Mercury's in Taurus, Mercury's your ruler. So it's all about that, you know, you still have that obsessive nature, and Scorpio is obsessions, and it can be intense. I think that you have a glorious Earth trine. Focus on the light. Focus on empowering your thoughts with consistent dose of positive affirmations. This is about attaching to the energy that grounds you, to the most powerful source out there for you right now. It is very easy to get lost in the darkness in Scorpio energy, but you are so blessed to have a harmonious grand Earth trine. I would definitely focus on the light. It's going to be very easy for you to get it if you just, and stay grounded in this intense transit. Where many people may lose the light, you may just find it very easy to embrace the light in this energy. This is all about courage and the ability to move forward. Again, it's not that headstrong, overconfident energy. It's more you're thinking everything through. You're considering the past. You're using wisdom, I think. And to me, Earth energy just definitely represents wisdom. It represents taking your time and making decisions. You know, it's more the passive-aggressive approach, which I personally am a passive-aggressive person. So I believe that, you know, you definitely get what you want a lot easier in the passive-aggressive environment than when you're aggressive and you put people off and you're just too extreme for people. It's a beautiful transit. There's a lot of glorious energy to be found for you. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Cancer. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, I do want to talk about Mars moving into Scorpio because in about a couple days after Mars moves into Scorpio, you go into the last quarter of the moon. And the final quarter of the moon is where we have to make some difficult decisions. We kind of face a crossroads. We have to, when we're thinking about the last quarter of the moon, we're like, well, did the crops go well at, you know, we planted the seed at the new moon. And how did the crops go? Did the seeds I plant, did they flourish? What didn't work? Did I have enough water? My soil, was it rich enough? Like, you're very contemplative in the last quarter of the moon until you get, and it builds up to the new beginning. So a lot of you will like either add amendments to your life or you'll subtract things that didn't work out. So this energy is building. for you. So you are experiencing a growth cycle in this energy. I think in the past you may have found it difficult to control your thoughts in a state of adversity, and you are changing the way that you respond right now. I believe that many of you are you're very surprised by how grounded and level-headed you are in an extreme adverse environment. For some of you, this is a big test, and for some of you, you may be definitely passing that test. I mean, you may be, it's time to give yourself a pat on the back that you have been conditioned enough to be able to respond appropriately and to maintain the waves of an ocean type mindset. I think that you may recall times in the past that really challenged you emotionally to disconnect. I think that you look back and view those times as weakness. So many of you are building strength. This is a renewal, a regenerative process for you. When you get into Scorpio energy, it's about endings, beginnings. It's about birth. It's about regeneration. It's about transformation. I believe that if you are trying to change the way that you deal with adversity, I believe that you are going to experience a sense of an accomplishment, which will only intensify the commitment to continue on the same path, to continue stabilizing your energy, to continue, you know what, it doesn't matter what we plant, okay, so like say if the soil that we grew up in was barren, you know, and it didn't have a lot of amendments. It was sand. Let's say it's sand, because water, nothing, it doesn't hold nutrients. It doesn't hold anything. Well, you took that soil, as barren as it was, with, you know, and there was no chance that it was ever going to sustain growth. And you've added amendments over the years, and you've worked your tail end off. You could start to see the fact that we can start to grow things and actually make them flourish in this energy. And I believe for some of you, that's the type of energy I'm talking about. I believe that you may be stepping outside of your comfort zones, or that this mutable grand cross is pushing you to do that. We have a mutable grand cross at the same time that we have this grand earth trine, that we have Mars going into Scorpio. And we have, you know, Jupiter and Saturn squaring off. So we have a lot of extreme energy, but I believe what's really heaven sent for you is that this just general state of, you know, what's going to be is going to be. I can't control it. So why do emotionally I need to go on a roller coaster at this time? I believe the Sun conjunct Venus in Gemini is filling you with optimism and hope, and reason and logic really is starting to play into how you emotionally respond to things. And I think you're a little like, whoa, I can't believe that I've actually got to this point in my life. I think that this is the time to reinforce what you've learned in the past about maintaining emotional stability. I believe that initially this will feel like you are going against the grain. When we change or we do anything different, the initial, like even if you just start a new job, it's like it feels uncomfortable. So I don't believe that we're going to feel like this aha moment. I believe that we still physically deeply respond, but what we're very impressed with is that we don't respond anymore in the same way. Like we're very shocked that, wow, we're keeping it together. We're existing in a state of adversity. It doesn't matter. I believe that Jupiter will initially expand these repetitive thoughts that have been consuming the good and progressive energy. So this is a big test. I kind of feel like as the energy gets more and more and more extreme, as this mutable grand cross gets tighter and tighter and tighter, the degrees get closer and closer and closer. I believe we're being tested. Where's your breaking point? Can you keep it together? You know, can you remain consistent? Because what you need to do is understand that no matter how tight, how extreme this energy gets and tries to push you, you can always make the choice to remain consistent emotionally. And I think that that is something, and how we do that is the key. Like, what positive ways are we trying, what's going on? Like, what things have we created in our lives, the repetitive thoughts in our lives, have we created enough to be able to maintain emotional stability? I believe that when the energy gets so overwhelming, you will tend to make it as important as it should be. I think compartmentalizing with when you're being like really influenced by this grand earth trine, I believe that compartmentalizing is going to be so key in this energy. You know, it's like, okay, I don't have time for this mental breakdown right now, so I'm going to do that later. You're going to be able to compartmentalize, and emotionally, you may not have always been able to do that. I believe that if fear is something that you should be paying attention to, clearing this block in energy is going to become very important to you. I believe that for some of you, there is for some of you, you still could be, you know, dealing with that energy block, that repressed process in you that kind of makes you hyperreact to things, or it will be revealed to you. It will be revealed to you exactly what that source is, where the energy is, you know, because that's Scorpio energy. It reveals what's hidden and in energy. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy. I believe that eventually you will open up to receive Jupiter's gift of stability and longevity in this energy. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again. Hi, dear Leos. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. And today, your ruler is involved in a grand mutable cross. And your ruler is conjunct with Venus. So the sun is going to be involved in this cross that I was talking about. And I think that you are going to feel the energy build in your life. As it gets closer and closer, the degrees become more and more exact as it becomes more of an exact square, which it will never fully become an exact square, but it will definitely tighten up and become very, very close in degrees on each side. So I think that in the past you may have took unrealistic leaps of faith, and I believe that it can consume your energy to recall these past painful lessons associated with these karmic lessons, karmic relationships that you had been involved in. So as you desired something, you just went for it, head first. You know, it felt good, you're going to do it. But I think that many of you in this energy are now seeing that that's not a very efficient, and it's a very, very risky mindset, and it doesn't create longevity. It doesn't create stability. I think that you will feel deeply compelled to stay grounded. I think you are transforming the value that you place on attending to daily duties and responsibilities. See, here's what I see happening. I think that as we get in this energy, and as we're like this mutable grand cross, and as it pulls us into different directions, some of the things that you will consider is like your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. How realistic are they? Are they just, you know, are they just all ego-driven? Are they just, you know, to make you feel good, to get you the affirmation, the attention that you desire? Friendships, social circles, whatever. And then I think, but then you have this Neptune and Pisces energy that's squaring off, that's saying, you know, yeah, but we need to transform the way that you realistically look at that. Like, you know, Neptune is being reinforced to realistically look at everything, the reality of the situation, which is what Saturn is trying to say. And Saturn wants you to take risks. Saturn doesn't want you to take foolhardy risks, head first risks, go for it, gusto risks. You know, like all balls, no glory. Like you just can't do that anymore. You've got to, these things have to be logical and rational, and they have to make sense for you to proceed. And then I think we have, you know, do we value the discipline, the structure that we need to create to reinforce all of these areas? Like there's a lot that goes into making a decision and a commitment and energy. And I think that deeply intensifies in this transit. So I think that building relationships in the future you will have to understand that there are two sides to you. There's the playful, passionate lion, and there's the dutiful, committed lion to what it values most. So this will not be the relationships moving forward that you're deeply going to value are not going to be something where they either love all the fun lion but they don't love the dutiful lion, or they love what the dutiful lion gives them, but they don't get enough attention. Like, you're going to have a lot more balance, but there are these extremes in these situations where, let's face it, I'm not always looking like this. Like, a lot of times my hair's up in a bun. I don't really care about how I look. And I walk around the planet just like not attention seeking. But then when I have my channel, I have to dress up and I seek a different type of attention, because I want to, capture my audience or whatever. Like, I am two different lions, and most every lion is two different lions. There's the lounging lizard lion that just is decadent and wants to sit out there and sunbathe. And then there's the lion that is fierce and competitive and controlling and dominant. So there's always, to me, a duality in any lion that you see. I mean, the core is all the same. The concepts are all the same of the lion, but there's still, and so I think you're going to face merging the dualities a little bit closer together in some of these things that you realize. I believe that it is a struggle, because I think all this I think all this past energy is really making you want to roar and move forward. Like, you're just done with restraint, done with drama, done with 5 planets in retrograde. Then they move forward and it seems like just, there's something else that just pulls you backward. Like, restraint. You're done being a lion in a cage. Like, you want to move forward, but the energy doesn't support that. It's still in reflection. It's still intensifying the reflective cycle and what knowledge needs to be attained from the reflective cycle. I think that you need to be aware that the competitive and intense energy of this transit does not make you push forward fearlessly. You could just get headstrong and fixed and decide that you are going to push forward and you don't care what anybody says, because you're a lion and you can do that, and you're just like the center of the whole entire universe. But we do have this mutable grand cross that's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, asking you to be adaptable, asking you to wait, asking you to be patient, asking you to develop parts of you that make you less headstrong. It's not that you don't need that perseverance and to be fully aligned, but you need to also embrace this adaptability and a new way of doing things. Like, you have to be in that mindset in order for you to do that. We have to go through these reflective cycles where we have to embrace restraint and reflection and reconsider and redirecting our energy. I think this period of reflection is is for you to learn the value of reflective cycles. Definitely. I think after we're done with this reflective cycle, what it's going to intensify is that you see things that you would not have seen had you been moving forward. So had we been moving forward headstrong, much of what was revealed during the reflective cycles, we would not have been able to even see or understand. We're going to start to respect the reflective cycles, because what these reflective cycles intensify is the past wisdom, past karmic lessons. It's going to bring forth all of this information for you to logically decipher when you have all this Gemini energy. I think that if you really want to know, this is where you're going to harness the true power of being a fierce lion, of being the center of the universe or your universe. It's where that you're going to have a considerable balance and perspective instead of an extreme lion, But you have to revisit areas in your life that were intense and deeply uncomfortable. You have to have revelation process. You have to be able to receive in this energy. You can't receive if you're always moving forward, so you can't receive this intuitive guided input when you are always goal oriented. So that's all it's about, is just to respect this revelation process. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, My dear Virgos, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, when this is happening, your ruler is involved in a grand Earth trine. So elevating your mindset is never an easy process because you're very, very ritualistic, and you really get caught up in all the tiny little details. I think intense recollections regarding the past failures and losses can challenge your day-to-day thinking. I think that you are in this particular energy, easily identifying what you deeply desire. Scorpio brings forth desire and it intensifies it. And then when you have, the sun conjunct with Venus, that's going to intensify it as well, especially anything that has to do with pleasure. So I believe that many of you will feel compelled to identify with the thoughts in your life, like what is going on in your life that is in a routine that intensifies your day-to-day life, like the day-to-day thinking. So what you're trying to do is really merge that immediate, the way that you just interpret your environment daily. You go through your duties, you take an input, you deal with the input, you do what you got to do. But there's a bigger picture to all of this. It's not just going through the same daily routine over and over again, sitting in the cubicle, processing all your information, going home, doing all your little rituals at home, and then going back. It's bigger than that. And I believe that this will intensify the knowledge of that. I believe that this reflective cycle has been very, very revealing to you. I think in general, just like in all of the planets being in retrograde, I think energetically you feel like you have been guided to move toward a bigger purpose. You see the bigger picture. I mean, you're being intuitively guided or spiritually guided, however you want to look at that. I think you feel as though you've learned a great deal from your past, which is why you are reinforcing the desire for you to move forward. What I think it is that as you understand your purpose and as you understand the significance of like a broader perspective, I think it really compels you to make different daily choices. And that is very healthy in this beautiful grand Earth trine. I think what we're really going to really evaluate is like moving away from karmic cycles that no longer serve us. So like in relationships, was I, like habitually latching onto relationships that either had no future or had some unrealistic expectation or idealized something that could never be. And, some of that may have to do with, when I look at the grand Earth trine, I think about the root of the issue, the root of the problem. Scorpio energy just represents the root, the depth of the issues in your life with relationships. And I think that as you look at those mindsets and as you look at what you kind of habitually used to do during daily activities, or, your thoughts or whatever that, those habitual thoughts that you were having, you kind of look at the big picture and you think, well, the revelation process, the renewal process, the transformative process of Scorpio energy is like something different. I think many of you are courageous in this energy. Many of you have had a revelation about what you are deeply passionate about. I think that this energy has more to do with the relationship with self than others. I believe that as we evaluate the relationships with others, we see ourselves. We see ourselves we see the reflection of self. We see where we're not making correct choices, where we're not realistic, where we're not aligned, with what our purpose is, where we're not, where we're lost a little bit in energy. I think this is about moving forward so that you can reinforce the lessons that you've learned from your past. You said that we're in a reflective cycle, but I'm talking about moving forward. I'm talking about moving forward in mindsets. I'm talking about the way that you see things now versus you did in the past. This energy will compel you to address your past programming and automated responses. This energy will reveal where you were constructive and destructive in your own lives. This has a lot to do with the relationship that you have with self and And as you get healthy with a sense of self, then you get healthy externally with your relationships. You just start to attract energy so much easier when you're in a place of peace with self. And so I think that Scorpio energy is going to intensify that desire to get, better acquainted with this sense of self. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Libra. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, your ruler is conjunct the sun, involved in a grand mutable cross. And this grand mutable cross is going to build and build and build. It's kind of off angled right now. It's kind of off kilter. So everything's kind of feeling off kilter. It's kind of pulling you in random different directions. There's no sense. There's no reason or logic to the directions that everything is going in. It just feels like it's kind of a chaotic energy. As the energy gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and it builds and it builds and it builds, it intensifies the point of the grand mutable cross in your life. Like, it intensifies it, even though it's a very adaptable energy and the energies are going in all 4 different directions. It's very important to consider how you emotionally feel, how you take action, how you want to move forward with this after all this retrograde cycles kind of release you to be able to move forward. How you what kind of rituals and routines do you need to set up to support some healthy mindsets, forward energy? And then, how do you feel and think about everything? I mean, how do you interpret it? All of this is going to be really, really elevated for you because it's in a very elevated part of the mind. So when you have Mars moving into Scorpio, what it's going to do is it's going to really, really intensify what you value. As you get this mutable cross, it's going to become so hard and intense, and the energy is going to be so fierce, pulling you. It's going to redefine what you desire, which I believe has a lot to do with the grand Earth trine that's pushing you away from past karmic cycles. It's getting to the root of the issues in your life, the root cause, what made you grow the way that you grew in your life. And I'm talking as a spiritual being, not as, just general, how you grew up, but it does have a lot to do with that, because that's generated from past programming and, kind of like in this automatic pilot in your life. So I believe that Gemini energy will compel you to observe the extremes in your mind. I believe that this is deeply an internal process that can challenge the energy, that can challenge you in this energy to transform. This is a very transformative process. Anytime you get in Scorpio energy, we're talking about transforming something, regenerating. We're talking about, breaking it down, ending something that no longer serves us and moving forward in a different progressive fashion. I think that in order for you to do that, you have to recall how in the past you lowered your expectations because you valued the wrong things. We all do this, as we go through the growth point in our life. I definitely value different things than I valued in my 30s, in my 20s, in my teens, as a kid. So we always are in this state of evolution. It's no biggie. I say this because your energy is involved in a grand mutable grand cross, not exact, but the way that you functioned in the past may have met your immediate needs, but it doesn't meet your long-term needs. So you've lowered the bar to say, I'm good now. So it's feeling good now. I'm cool. I'm a pleasure. I like pleasurable sources just like everybody else. And if I'm pleased now, I'm cool. But if you were to look at it from the views that I think that you're being compelled to look at it, is you're looking for something that grounds you. It's stable. It's going to stand the test of time. And I think that some of you are caught between, it feels good right now, and it's like, oh, but I don't know if it's going to stand the test of time. I don't know if it's going to bring me longevity and stability. It really, truly, deeply what I want. So many of you are going to idealize and may even omit the truth about the situation, I think, to yourself. So what Scorpio energy does is it comes into our life and it reveals and it intensifies our feelings about things. I think that these realizations are inspiring you to reconsider what you are deeply passionate about. Your energy involved in this mutable grand cross will reveal what you don't want to see. I think the hardest thing when we're dealing with this type of intense energy is we're kind of the two energy sources that play is we have this grand mutable cross, which is stability, longevity, dealing with the root of our issues so that we can, really have a firm foundation. We can, like what we need to do is see, okay, if I don't have bone meal in my soil and the whole problem, my crop has never grown right because I've never had bone meal in the soil. It's always been deficient of that. The revelation process is I got to add some bone meal. Right? I mean, that's just logical. That's easy enough, but apply that to mindsets of human beings. Like human beings have to be like, I don't even know what I need to add because I don't even know. The revelation process is the big picture, immediate versus, the big picture. I think it's deeply compelling to ask yourself these questions. I think this is the only way that you can reinforce the karmic cycles from your past and move away from them. See, at the base of the grand Earth trine, we've got Neptunian energy in a sextile just pushing you away, trying to. Saturn's keeping it very realistic, squaring off with Neptune. So there's this push of like, the realization from my past is this. I can now move forward and I can firm up my foundation and I now know what I need. I think that this has a lot to do with how we are personally empowered in our lives and how we actually take away the power in our lives. I mean, you are a fierce creature. You are in charge of your own destiny. And I know that, yes, these are very fated karmic times, fated lessons, but we can make choices in our lives that put us on the right path or make us a hamster on a wheel and continue the same repetitive cycles. So anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi Scorpio, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio, which is in retrograde. So, Mars moving into Scorpio. This is your ruler moving in, and it's moving into your energy, and it's the Scorpio. Now, Mars moving into Scorpio energy would feel wonderful. It would feel empowering. It would feel just it would normally feel completely amazing. However, it's in retrograde. So what you're identifying with has a lot to do with some sort of past karmic lesson, some sort of past karmic cycle that you've been on for some time. There's something to learn. There's something to learn about you, what you need to identify with, what you're being compelled to identify with. So I think when your ruler retrogrades in your energy, it's a chance to re-identify very important areas in your life. And in fact, it's what you're being compelled to do. I think that this will encourage you to value those that have stood by you through the test of time. This is to set up a lot of powerful relationships moving forward. I think that this is a time of attraction. I think that it is your choice to embrace the time of opportunity. What you overcome in this is a feeling of lack of scarcity and lack in your life. I think as you identify what empowers you and you identify the type of relationships that you want to build, and I think, and believe me when I say that relationships are a big emphasis, this is probably about every type of relationship that you could have in your life. Siblings, neighbors, friends, significant bonds, unions, new relationships, established relationships. This is asking you to take a look at everything, the really big picture. It's intensifying your relationships in your life, or your desire, or it's reiterating what you should desire from relationships. What's pleasurable? The sun is conjunct with Venus at this time. We have a couple energy sources going on. We have a grand Earth trine, which Neptune is compelling you to move away from these karmic relationships that no longer serve you. Like you've learned what you got to learn. You've got to ditch those relationships and you've got to move forward with progressive, long-term soulmate relationships. We also have a mutable grand cross that's intensifying energy at the time that Mars goes into Scorpio. So you can bet that if you're in a fixed mindset and this grand mutable cross gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, it's going to force you to be adaptable about some of these mindsets that you have regarding these very, very significant relationships in your life. It probably will intensify these relationships, and you will see what you don't want and what you do want. It will easily define them. And then you're going to have to adapt and make choices in these types of areas moving forward. I do believe that it is a very karmic and fated time for you. I believe that when your ruler goes into retrograde, your stamina gets lower, your ability to endure things, you're a little bit more passive aggressive. So for some of you, this isn't going to be like the guillotine approach to some of these significant issues, but it's going to be like you're going to be in observation mode. You're going to be extremely intuitive. You're going to see what is hidden. You're going to, secrets are going to be revealed. Like you're going to be the ultimate detective in this energy. I think that some of you may harbor some guilt, some remorse when you reflect on those darker days of like when you maybe weren't the optimum Scorpio. This reflection process may bring forth some painful karmic cycles of self-indulgence. Again, we've got that Sun and Venus thing going on. So for some of you, it's going to intensify those times. It could be very revealing to you. I believe that you may deeply still fear, the lack of discipline and the lack of structure in both your personal and your professional goals as well. So I think for some of you, what you identify with, whatever point that is, we build relationships in all of these areas. And I believe that it gets down to what you deeply desire from each one of these relationships. You don't even have to be in relationships, but what is the motive? What's the ulterior motive for each one, for all the people that you have in your life? Like, what do you want? What do you need from them? What do you value from these relationships? And for some of you, it could just be familiarity of like the past that no longer serves you. It could intensify that. What I deeply believe is what it does is it firms up some of what you identify with, and then you start to take a look at everything as a whole. Like, what do I identify with in my professional goals? What do I identify with in my personal goals? What do I identify with in my relationships? What do I identify with in my family, my siblings and stuff? So I believe that it's a time to intensify these situations so that you can understand exactly what you need to understand. This energy will reveal and help you identify what you are deeply passionate about. This will, for some, completely redirect your energy. This has a very renewal aspect to it when I feel this energy. I believe that from Sagittarius opening us up into Scorpio, I believe it just intensifies our desires to be more well-rounded. And in order to do that, we've got to break a couple more cycles in our life and re-identify and, kind of readjust in our lives. And whatever intensifies in this, and if that mutable grand cross, if you're being asked to change something and you're fixed and you're not willing to just adapt in this energy, I believe that that's a very intense time for you, but it's also a very transformative process because it reveals what you don't want to see. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Sagittarius. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, for you, this transit is going to be a very psychological transit for you. Of course, when you got Scorpio energy, why wouldn't it be? I believe that this is a renewal process for you, as it is for a lot of people. Very transformative process. I believe that the feedback from your most significant bonds will also have faded messages in them at this time. I believe that you will be challenged to consider your karmic past. I think, what lessons did you reconsider from your past as we've been through this reflective cycle, especially when your ruler was in retrograde? It's going to reinforce them. It's going to bring them forth again. It's going to reveal something else, Scorpio. Is it the revelation process? It's going to look at the big picture. It's going to intensify some of what may still need to be worked out. I believe that I think that you need to also maybe reconsider how these lessons apply moving forward. Scorpio is definitely going to intensify that as well. I think in this energy will point out where you lack structure and discipline to commit to an emotional goal or a professional goal. Again, this is to help us keep on track. So it's going to intensify what we refuse to see, what we intentionally deny in our lives, so that we can, like, I don't know, feel good and an excessively pleasure seeker, do what we got to do to feel good, that immediate high. What we're trying to do is to get this mutable grand cross, which is this extreme, and we've got a grand earth trine in that extreme. So we've got feeling good, stability, and pleasure. The pleasure that we associate is longevity, stability, consistency, and then we've got pleasure over here is immediate. So what we're trying to do is to understand these extremes, and Jupiter can expand that for you, and Mars, of course, is going to intensify it. So I think that the challenge in this energy is going to be to fearlessly commit to where your energy is being redirected. And this is going to be difficult for you because I think that there's a freedom element to it. Like, I think that you feel like it might restrict you. Mars and Scorpio can make you feel restrictive and caged in and, not progressive and, and you just want to be let out of the cage. And it's like, it can make you feel like that. I believe that you are being compelled to reconsider longevity, and at the same time, you are being compelled to reconsider your past habitual patterns that brought you immediate results. It's super hard when we're wanting to be this progressive energy. At the same time, we're being so reflective. And it's just so exhausting to always have to deal with the past when we're trying to make present decisions that bring us pleasure and happiness and give us some immediate results. Because you know what? We've been so focused on the past that we don't want to be so reflective. It's so depressing and it's a big downer. I think the word that you need to focus on during this transit is consistency, reliability, words. And I believe that it can be brought forth during this reflective cycle, but what you need to be very mindful of is that Scorpio energy can intensify situations. Just like Jupiter can expand situations, good or bad. These are you combine Scorpio energy with that intensity, that depth, that hidden with Jupiter, it can expand a whole lot of crap in your life. So, this is to be respected. I think this reflective cycle is to be respected highly because you will get to move forward as soon as you really receive everything you need to receive from this reflective cycle. And you will be intuitively guided. This is very intuitive energy. So you're only lost in the dark if you refuse to turn on the light, right? You've got the flashlight in your hand, but you're like, I don't even need the light in my hand. So the light would be your intuition, but you don't want to turn it on because you're just so logical and rational because you've got all this Gemini energy making it all about reason, logic, facts, and really, honestly, it's about intuition. It's about what you feel. It's about what you're deeply compelled to desire at this time. It's that compelling desire that burns from deep within that you may not be able to reasonably, validate because it's like an internal process. What it's trying to do is get you to merge all of this intuitive information that's coming in with reason and logic, and that can be quite difficult for you because you're such an elevated learner. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Capricorns, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio now. Okay, sorry about that. I had to grab something. So there is power in numbers. Many of you are being challenged to envision the value you place on resisting the urge to control others. You are being compelled to use logic and reason when you feel emotional, especially an emotional intensity when you have this Scorpio energy. I think that this is a renewal process, and it's going to bring forth memories of karmic cycles where you experienced extremes. This energy is very difficult because your ruler is involved in a grand mutable cross. And although it's not exactly exact, and it is very an irregular, like if you look at the degrees, it's kind of irregular what's going. I think you could just be feeling like things aren't, the input that's coming in is like crazy and unexpected, and you're asking to be adapt, but you don't even know what you need to adapt because it's just so sporadic and it's chaotic, and you like control and you like it to be exact. I mean, you like to know where you're being directed, the changes you need to make. You're very proactive in your life, but this energy is not proactive yet. As we go through the week, this grand mutable cross gets, the degrees get more and more and more exact till you have a perfect little square that you can understand what the problem is, and you can decipher it, and you can use reason and logic to get the way that you think about it. But at this point, it could just be emotional for you, deeply emotional. It intensifies all this emotional energy that's brewing in you, and it can make you very, very mentally uneasy. It's a very mentally uneasy time for you. I think that many of you are being compelled to figure out why you respond the way you do. Many of you are valuing controlling your automated responses about when you experience challenge or adversity. I think many of you are working your tail end off to gain the control that you desire, and to gain the perspective that it is from these reflective cycles. Like, you're really in a very transformative growth cycle. That is very easy to say, but when you're feeling what you're feeling, it can magnify and intensify things in such a way that there's a feeling of wanting to control it, but there's that urge of losing control because there's just so much coming at you. I think the journey will reveal what repressed energies lie in your life. I think that as we're a tea kettle and the pressure builds and builds and builds and builds, but we still are on the burner, and it's still building the pressure, and then we're bubbling and we're brewing. Obviously, we're going to spurt at some point because we just can't deal with, every person has a limit. Everybody does. And so when you have this mutable energy, you're fixed. The way that you deal with things is so action oriented. Like, if there's a problem, you solve it. If there's something that needs to be done, you're done. Like, if you're goal oriented, you're action oriented, you're career driven. There seems to be some thing that you can always fixate on enough to keep you even keel. But in this energy, I feel like it's just a lot of chaos, and there's like not that really reliable energy source, and it's going to intensify in this energy as you have Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio in retrograde. It's almost like when Mars is in Scorpio and it's in retrograde, it's like the caged lion that's been sitting in the cage forever and ever and ever, and it just wants to get out, and it wants to take action now. It wants to do something about things now. It wants to be proactive. It wants to make changes. You are there, but everything is in retrograde, and everything is intensifying around you, and there's that need of like, I just feel like it's very crazy. I think that some of you are going to figure out what lies beneath. Like, what, you know, it's like looking at Loch Ness, and it's this beautiful water source. But what lies beneath Loch Ness has been a mystery forever. It's been, and you know, the Scorpio energy is all about solving the mystery. I mean, is there really a Loch Ness monster or some sort of large sea creature that they can't identify? Of course, there's lots of theories about how it's fake, but you know, there is some very realistic images of something that that could be something that's kind of a prehistoric, it's evolved from a prehistoric that still could exist in there. It's a very big water source. It's very deep. So a lot of what lies beneath, you may be surprised that it's even in there. And again, this has to do with working through what we repress, what we hide from ourselves, what we refuse to see. That's all Mars and Scorpio energy. I believe that at first you may resist this fated transit, and that's just going to intensify everything. As I said, that mutable grand cross gets tighter and tighter and tighter. You're going to want to resist even more and more and more. Beware of what you resist persists. I say that to myself because if I feel that I'm resisting it, I don't want more of it. So I submit. I submit to this. Submit and be adaptable is about the only saving grace that I'm going to have for you guys. Submit and it will save your life. Because if you think that you are not somebody that needs to submit to energy, you're wrong. All of us right now with this adaptable energy, we're being asked to submit the control or the illusion of control in our lives. I think the older you get, the stronger this transit is going to reinforce this exploration process. So I think that when you're young, the intensity is going to be a lot different from those that are mature and are seeking wisdom and, you know, exploring the bigger picture. I believe that it's that way for everybody. I mean, it's like the younger people are like, well, I don't think it's that intense. Well, yeah, because you don't know what you're going to know in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. You know, that action has that giant reaction, ripple effect much further down the line. This is an amazing energy. Lots and lots of intensity brewing. It's really asking you to just take the lid off the tea kettle and let it blow and see what happens. Like, I mean, what can you do? I just have to say that the only illusion that we have on a daily basis is that we have any control over anything or anybody. And you, being a very controlling energy source, need to accept that. I think it's just Saturn is really trying to get you to understand that you have to let go of fixed mindsets and you have to open yourself up to, you need to receive and stop fighting and resisting the reception process, because this reflective process is all about receiving, not resisting. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Aquarius. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. This transit will renew your mindset about the path that you need to travel on moving forward. This is a very, very reflective cycle for you, but it's also a cycle that renews you as well. This is really going to auto-correct the past. So it's going to intensify the direction that you need to move in, move away from, or move toward. So your ruler, Saturn, is involved in this immutable grand cross, and then you have Uranus and Saturn trining. So this is all about extremes. This is about learning how to be adaptable in fixed mindsets, fixed belief systems. you feel like it should go this way. You refuse to let go. It can intensify how you obsessively seek an unrealistic expectation for some of you. I think in order to grow, you have to embrace change. Change is not easy, especially if it's not change that you agree with, or change that you do not think is rational, or change that you do not feel that you intellectually can support that decision. You resist. And of course, what you resist persists. So I think that this will redirect your energy. As the energy intensifies, it intensifies the direction that you need to go. You're very intuitive. You're very elevated. I think that you're going to see it. I just think that initially you're going to resist the revelation process. This is about bringing forth energy that you have maybe repressed, or that you refuse to see, or maybe a secret comes out, or maybe, there's some sort of hidden agenda behind all of it. Maybe you see your hidden agenda. Maybe you start to understand yourself a little bit better, or vice versa. It could be that externally you could start to see where people really, their true character lies in this, and that can redirect your energy and put you on a different path. I think this transit combined with the sun conjunct with Venus in Gemini will show you where you lack abundance that you deserve, that you feel that you deserve. I think that this is all about what you feel you deserve, redefining that. I think that Saturn is going to oppose Gemini energy in this mutable grand cross that I was telling you about. This mutable grand cross is building. It's kind of haphazard right now, so you're kind of being pulled into like weird directions. There's a lot of external stuff going on. There's just a lot of weird stuff that's kind of making your fixed world, the world that you like to have ultimate control in, kind of not feel. It feels wobbly. It feels like there's a lack of control. And as this mutable grand cross gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and it emphasizes more and more and more the need to be adaptable in a certain area, you'll start to redefine it. Scorpio will help you figure out how all of these connect. It'll figure out all the clues so that you can eventually reveal what you need to do in this energy. I think that you are going to be challenged to consider the elements in your life, emotions, passion, longevity, the ability to be reasonable. When you have a mutable grand cross, we have all elements at play. So we have water, fire, earth, and air. So that is a lot of things that you are taking in. Water represents emotion. Fire represents the actions you take, the desire that compels you to move forward. Earth energy is about, the foundation, stabilizing, it's recognition for achievements. And then you've got air, which is that communicative element where we're understood, and the ability to exchange information and then to deliver it in such a way that it is understood. So there's a lot going on, and you're being torn in all these different directions, and there's a lot of growth and evolution happening. There's endings and there's significant beginnings in this energy. So that's another caveat to all this energy. I think this energy will redirect the value you place on moving forward and away from karmic cycles. Again, we're getting off the wheel, hopefully. We're not continuing on cycles that no longer serve us. But I think it has a lot to do with who you surround yourself by. That could be of great importance. If they cannot identify with what you are being compelled to consider in your life, then I think you need to reevaluate who you're hanging out with. Who you, it's like an addict. Like a drug addict or whatever whatever they're addicted to. They'll surround themselves by a bunch of alcoholics because they're accepted in that environment. They don't surround themselves by people that can help them grow and are sober friends. They want drunk friends because they can get drunk and do all the things that they enjoy. So, I believe that it is who we surround ourselves by is about how, and I also believe these are very, very fated union times right now. So if we're being asked to move away from friendships, circles, things that no longer serve us, and what's being attracted in our life is a lot of, really introspective and worldly and open and, friends, then I believe that that's who you need to start really paying attention to, because they have some information, some very faded information for you. I believe that this is a growth cycle. I think you are it's a shedding of skin of sorts. I definitely believe. I believe that much will be revealed in this energy. I believe that what you resist persists. It's very obsessive energy. Some of you are just the cycle, the routine, the rituals that you do, it's very obsessive. Obsessions can easily get out of control in this mutable energy. As you try to control the world, what you're going to understand is that the more that you try to control it, the less control you have, and that can make you feel very obsessive in your mindsets. You could just get lost in the obsession of getting what you want versus, was it even worth getting? I believe that this is going to show you the extremes in your life. I think that is the key to growth, is to attract positive relationships, bonds, and unions. I believe not so much romantic as it is supportive relationships, unions, bonds, consistency. I believe this energy will reveal to you what you're deeply passionate about. The past recollection process holds the key to how you move forward. This is about both personal and professional goals. This is about collective strength, and it is about attracting the right attention and lifestyle. You've got a lot of energy at play, being pulled in all different directions. It's intensifying the situation, and it's asking, I believe, as this energy builds to this event of it gets really close, they pretty much all get they get close to 1 degree apart. I think there's one that's 3 degrees apart, but it's building and it's getting tighter and tighter, and the energy is forcing you to see something that you need to be adaptable in: a mindset, a lifestyle, a habit, a ritual, a routine, an emotional state, the way that you think, the way that you the control that you either have or don't have in your life. I believe that is deeply, deeply being emphasized in this very, very faded time for you. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Pisces, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Mars moving into Scorpio. Now, do we have a duality in energy. This can go one of 2 dramatically different ways for you. We have a grand mutable cross, which is squaring off and opposing and pulling you into different directions. And you know what it's really doing is it's pulling your clay out of shape, because something is definitely wrong in your life. Something is not going in the right direction. So you were shaping it and you were just fierce about that shape. And it's nope, the shape, no, you don't get that shape. That's the wrong shape. Faded karmic lesson is wrong shape. And then you are having this beautiful grand earth trine that's being uplifted by your energy to create stability, to create longevity, get to the root of the problem, move away from karmic paths that no longer serve you, and really generate some stability, longevity, and recognition in your life. So I think for those of you still trying to figure out what you identify with, this transit will identify that crucial question. It will intensify it as well. I think that if you seek pleasure in an imbalanced way, perhaps a learned response from childhood. Some of you could have just learned to be a people pleaser, or you could have learned to just drink away your problems or do drugs or do whatever, escape it, be a workaholic, whatever it is. Some sort of extreme imbalance could have been learned. Saturn will challenge you to identify with a new path in life, a different life path. I think if a relationship or bond challenges you to have a balanced mindset, Jupiter may expand where you fail to see the dysfunctional mindset. Jupiter can be malefic, and it is squaring off with Saturn, and it is going to maintain an almost exact square for quite some time. So it is very fierce. These are the two teachers. They don't agree on how this should be taught. One's an opportunistic teacher. One's a teacher that deals with limitation on control. So we've got this benefic teacher that wants to give you lots of opportunity to see what you do with it and to reinforce what you should do with it. And then we've got this teacher that says, no, these are the rules. This is the duties and the responsibilities. This is limitation. I'm going to restrict growth. This one wants growth. This one wants to restrict growth because you're not ready for something. That's some of you caught in the mutable grand cross. For some of you, you're very elevated. You're learning. You're really seeking out stable sources. Whatever extreme you're in, it will be intensified. So for some of you, you could feel amazing during this transit. And for some of you, what's going to be intensified is the feeling that you have no control, that you don't know the direction, you don't know what you're identifying with, and you need to redefine it. And it feels like there's an urge to do that. I think the flip side of this energy is that a significant bond or union for some of you caught in the Earth trine is really going to steer you on the right path. Who you surround yourself by is very important, especially for a mutable sign like you, who you really become clay with whomever you're around. And if you're really surrounding yourself with positive, fated, karmic, like these people were brought, they're soulmates, they are going to help you evolve. You are evolving. These can be bonds and unions. I'm not talking about the classic relationship. I'm talking about there's something special about this particular bond that you have that's inspiring you to move in a different direction. I think both of these energies have the same fated conversation to have with you. I think after all this energy, it is going to redirect you. This is about the renewal process. This is about ending things, karmic cycles that no longer serve you. It's about regenerating a new path, like shining light on the new path. It's about turning your back to a path that no longer serves you and walking in a different direction. This is a very revealing process. Scorpio energy reveals what you don't want to see. So for some of you, this is a reality check. And as you know that you guys have been going through these reality checks with Saturn, so this is about redirecting you. The reality check will actually redirect you. I think that this energy is very motivating. I think that if you think about a consistent source of satisfaction, I think that that will be the key to steering you on the right path. I think that you are being guided to reconsider the past and how it allowed you to overindulge in extremes. Now, I have had so many Pisces say to me, well, I'm not addicted to anything really, because are you addicted to work? Because if they're not addicted to drugs or alcohol or some sort of excessive, then they're addicted to work. Or they're addicted to being lazy. Like, I'm telling you right now, there's an extreme in just about every Pisces I know right now. And it's being redefined in their lives. I think that there's definitely an area in their lives where there's a focal point. I think that when Mars in Scorpio, when Mars moves into Scorpio and it's in retrograde, what I think is revealed in this energy is where you have created some sort of illusion, unrealistic expectation, where there's an energy source that's blocking you from flourishing. When I see Mars in Scorpio, I see it in a cage. I see it restricted. I see it wanting to burst out. I see you getting sick of it. I see you upset. I see you wanting to move forward. And I see you sick of the reality, sick of the same conversations, sick of the issues. But if you have not learned, then that mutable grand cross is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter and pull you further and further and further in different directions. And I think what's going to happen is as it gets tighter, I think the revelation process of Mars and Scorpio gets refined. For some people, they don't have to have it quite as extreme. It doesn't have to be that 1 degree apart for them to get it, where you're just freaking losing your mind. It can be further apart and kind of like, oh, this energy is making me feel kind of unpleasant. I think I'm just going to go over here to the stable source of energy because it just makes me feel good. And bam, you're going toward your Earth trine. But I think that if you are just that person that's like, I don't see it, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until you do. It is a very intense time. There's a lot of energy really pushing you to make some significant different decisions. And you will feel the thing about this energy is when anything goes into Scorpio, it intensifies your intuition. So you will know what to do, whether or not you do it or not, whether or not you refuse to see acknowledge what is being revealed. That's your journey. That's your problem. The energy is there if you want to get away, if you want to add consistency and longevity. If you want to consider on karmic cycles and sit on that wheel the entire lifetime, you can. You'll just come back again. Like if some of you believe in reincarnation, you'll just come back again and do this all over again till you freaking figure it out. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event.